You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast following a victory. That's right, a win for the Ottawa Senators for the first time in their last 6. They end the road trip on a high note against the St. Louis Blues. Brady Tkachuk gets a goal in his hometown, and we are happy to dissect it. I'm Ross Levitan. With me, as always, Brandon Pillar and the recurring guest on the Leams Martian on a night where Patrick Leem gets a shout out on the broadcast as well. Pilsy, as we always do, your overall impressions as you're sitting there watching a big time win for the Ottawa Senators.
What a way to cap off that shitty road trip. I mean, a 4-1 win in St. Louis. Walt Tkachuk, even though he won't crack a smile on camera, you know he's going to be loving it after the game. And that was one hell of a game by the Ottawa Senators. I mean, the St. Louis Blues only had 3 shots in the third period. The top guys were clicking. Anton Forsberg looking like Henrik Lundqvist out there. And the boys get a 4-1 win and get to go home happy.
Is this a 2 rings around the rosy night on the Sen Central standouts, Martian?
It feels like it's going to have to be.
It feels like it.
There's a lot of guys who stood out tonight. A lot of guys had really good games. And the guys you want to see have those good games had them. Especially, I think, little teaser here, I think Brady Tkachuk's going to be one of those standouts. But he especially, I thought, stood out in his hometown game here. So good to see from him. He got up for this one.
Pilsy, how many shekels do you think Brady had on the board tonight?
Oh, bunch of shekels. And the boys rewarded him here. I mean, other than a couple defensive breakdowns, this was a great game by everyone, and it was a team effort. The St. Louis Blues really should have had a lot more offensive chances, and they did have some good chances, but Forsberg stood tall, and the Sens were able to capitalize on those chances. How about 2 power play goals? It has been a long time since we've seen 2 power play goals.
And one game, and one of them, courtesy Josh Norris, his 20th goal of the year. Tim Stutzle gets his 13th to set a career single season high with only one comparable. So ironically, it's in his 56th game of the year, as many as they played all of last year, that he beats that mark. But it didn't start out like that tonight for the Ottawa Senators. It started out with a couple big saves in the first 10 minutes for Anton Forsberg. No whistles for 6.5 minutes right off the bat. And you'll love to see that. Get the guys in the game. Not a lot of penalties tonight either. Not like we saw the other night or multiple nights. If you go back to the Florida game, only 3 minor penalties tonight, all in the first period. Pilsy, how much do you think that helped the team in the second and third period to just keep rolling along? We know that Connor Brown was a game time decision. He ends up playing. But to me, and maybe what I'm kind of hinting at here, is the fourth line was unbelievable on this night with a little added ice time.
Yeah, and Ross, one of my keys to victory for this game was dominate 5-on-5. And sure, they dominated on the power play as well, but even strength, they were really good. And yeah, you got to respect what the fourth line was doing. And this is a game that you can look back on as the Ottawa Senators have struggled lately, and you can say, all right, we faltered and we had a rough road trip, but we know we have this type of game in our back pocket, and we know we can pull this out if everybody just works together and we play our structure, play our system. And they proved that once again on the road up against one of the best teams in the NHL.
Martian, what would you say if you're a Blues fan came to you and say, you only won that game because Binnington was a sieve?
Well, I mean, we're used to it on the other side of things, so I don't feel bad for you at all.
Do you see that as a defining moment from tonight, though? Because I counted 2, maybe even 3, where if you're the Tendy, you probably want to have it.
Yeah, and the shots on goal was a low number too, I think, for Ottawa, right? What did they end up having by the end of the game there? Like 20,
23, 28 for Ottawa, 23 for St. Louis, and St. Louis only had 3 in the second period, but it was quality over quantity for St. Louis in terms of their offensive chances tonight.
Yeah, I mean, definitely they didn't see much. When the ones they did end up getting, Anton Forsberg looked incredible in there, right? Like he made a few 10 bell saves, and I don't say that lightly at all. That one save that he made, holy moly, boys, was that not one of the nicest saves you've seen all season, or what?
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. And they talked about on the broadcast, like when your body momentum is going the other way, and then to be able to bring it back and flash the leather on the other side up against one of the best shooters in the league, in Vladimir Tarasenko, that's pretty good. And he had a couple of good saves up against Tarasenko, and he really made this Blues team frustrated. And guys, I don't know. I was on the side of you got to trade Forsberg while his trade value's high, but I don't know how you can trade a guy like this now. Like the offer has to be pretty damn hard to refuse if you're going to let a guy like this go, because he's got to stick around. He's playing amazing night in and night out.
Pilsy, you knew that the video we made for Locked On NHL had the potential to age rather quickly, but we thought it was because trades would happen left, right, and center. But now if Anton Forsberg gets moved for a third-round pick, I think I'm looking
unacceptable.
at management saying no chance. But that's what he's been able to do.
Yeah.
Since December 2nd, since that second half of back-to-back against the Carolina Hurricanes when he made, 46 saves in that game? At that point, a career high. Then he gets 47 later in the year. He's got the third best save percentage in the entire National Hockey League. It's really incredible. Now, since they compared him to Patty Lalime, we got to get Martian's take on that. Like, what changes in the Anton Forsberg situation? There's so many intriguing storylines going to the deadline for Ottawa.
The longer it goes on here with him and the way he's been playing, the more I'm like, we should almost try to find a way to keep him here. Like, what's the solution? The solution might be to have someone like Anton Forsberg in the net every single night for you, because the way he's playing right now, he looks like a veteran goalie who has been doing this for years, who you can trust back there in all kinds of different situations. And even the tough ones, he's finding a way to stop right now. They're going to win a ton of games if you get goaltending like that all the time. Yeah. You could play, you could play not to the game plan and still win games when you're getting a guy playing the way he's playing, which is why I said too, is like, if they end up trading him at this deadline and they say they don't get a great return, that's one thing. But if they trade him to a team and then all of a sudden he starts looking like the second coming of like Patrick Waugh or something out here with like bringing a team on a long run or something like that, then that's going to look especially bad, because I mean, we had them. It's the same story kind of over and over again, where the Sens become that goalie feeder for the rest of the league. You can look across the league and there's tons of guys who were drafted by or played for Ottawa at some point who they just ended up moving on from. So you really got to be careful with this thing. But at the same time, you end up getting burned if you sign him, and then he goes back to being what you expect from a guy who you get off waivers.
If he wants a 3-year deal, do you go for it, Martian?
3 years?
Yeah, 3 years.
Oh, it all depends on Murray, though. You're not going to get rid of Gustin.
I think we kind of know what Murray is at this point, unfortunately.
So the options are what? You buy him out or send him to the minors again, or whatever it is, and then you're just eating the money. I mean, if it's up to me right now, and who I want to see in net, it's Anton Forsberg. But I mean, like, that's a big pill to swallow, especially for the Ottawa Senators, right?
Yeah, it certainly is. And Pilsy, I want to go through to some comparables with you, but sounds like that's best left for the Locked On Senators podcast that you can get Monday through Friday on your favorite podcast catcher and on YouTube, where you're watching the Postcast right now. As we always appreciate everyone joining us after the games. The chat is super active. We're reading them. We're going through that. And that's a bonus of watching the Postcast live rather than watching it on replay or listening to it on your commute, is you can go through and we'll pull up the comments. You can read them through as we go on. And one of the interactive things we do as well is we ask, who gets the bike helmet and shades? If somebody remembers where it is, as the Ottawa Senators haven't won in quite some time.
Who's got it? Who has it in their bag? That thing's got to have mold on it by now.
According to the community, and we're nearing 100 votes now, Anton Forsberg, 35%. My vote is
gotta be Brady.
The runner-up. It's with Brady Tkachuk, because we've realized that there is a sentimental aspect to the bike helmet and shades. And I think Brady Tkachuk's first goal in his hometown even supersedes if Zach Sanford had scored tonight in his return. He gets the tribute video. He won the cup there. I think when your captain scores his first career goal in his hometown, he gets the bike helmet and shades no matter what. And boys, it's been a while. Brady Tkachuk right now has earned it once. And I think it's the Colorado game where he had 2 goals and an assist, including the game winner in overtime when he came down the left wing on a rush and scored. I want to say that was the game, but I think Timmy might have got. Anyways, he's gotten it once for sure. But to me, it's Brady Tkachuk, no brainer. Josh Norris gets 21% of the vote, and Tim Stutzle is at 19% of the vote. Martian, Pilsy and I already said where we're going, both with Brady. Who's your Bike Heltman shades tonight?
Yeah, if I had to put money on it, I definitely would go with Brady. But I wouldn't be surprised too with Norris having another great game after coming back from injury. This is I think the first game they've won since he's been back, so maybe he gets the nod too. But I think you're right. The sentimental value means a lot there. I think with the hometown thing and how funny were the reactions out of Chantal and Keith up in the booths too after the goal?
Just nothing. Like you thought Walt would crack a smile, maybe nothing. But I mean, that's a pro. He knows the camera's on him at that moment, so he's not going to give you too much.
Yeah, I can't believe he was able to hold it together like that. Like that's pretty impressive.
Insane. Yeah.
Hold it together, buddy. That was one of the loudest screams I've ever heard after his goal. You clipped
No,
the
for
replay.
Walt. We're talking about Walt.
Oh, I was already on the Brady.
I was going to say, I didn't hear Walt screaming.
Yeah,
no, Walt
Brady was doing enough for both of them.
Yeah, well, at least you see Chantal crack a smile.
She's having fun up there. She's having a couple glasses of vino, just like you, buddy.
Yes, absolutely. It's a Cab Sauv kind of night. I got the air fryer going. Alfie got rid of the bones in him. It's a good day. It's all good here in the
What
Levitan
meat was
household.
on the menu tonight?
We had some fried chicken breasts, a little panko crust, a little chili powder, some garlic salt. Yeah, chicken breast for sure. Yeah, right off the bone. Call. You throw it in the air fryer. Yeah. Thanks. Walked me right into that one. Speaking of good vibes, locker room vibes, as we like to do here on Locked On Senators, Whitey. My God, what a great story. Point per game. He gets 2 apples on the night here, and now making everyone look stupid for already putting his buyout cost into the calculator.
Yep.
Now, he played a lot of center tonight, a little bit of wing, but a lot of center. Again, I said there's lots of great storylines coming down the wire here for Ottawa. To me, Forsberg is 1A because it's right in front of us with the trade deadline. A little more runway for Whitey. But if he keeps playing like this, I mean, point per game, that's tough to sustain, but that's certainly a $4.7 million player.
I mean, yeah, if he keeps it up over a larger sample size, definitely. Yep. But I think there's a lot to be said. You know, everybody was talking about how Colin White being injured and he was, maybe missing the game of hockey, and he started to realize what he was missing, and that really reinvigorated him when he came back in the lineup and he worked hard to get right back in the lineup. I think maybe fans kind of were missing Colin White and forgetting what he actually brings on a night-to-night basis, because I've been noticing him like crazy, and it's even more so than like I almost forgot what Colin White was. I don't know about anybody else, but like when he came back, I'm like, God, this guy can play. I always forgot, and he's doing it all right now. He's almost like another Connor Brown, almost the way he steals pucks from guys. He's tenacious on it, and he's in the right spots, and he's smart. So I've been impressed with him a lot. The buyout thing, I was one of those people too, Ross. Yeah. That was
the 1/3.
It's the 1/3. If it was normal, I don't think we're talking about it.
Yeah.
No, I know. You're
now,
right.
should we should shut up about him completely right now, because at this point you're looking at a guy who you want to be a top 6 forward. When you drafted him 21st overall, it's kind of what you expect. And now we're 6 years later. Pilsy, you and I were talking this morning that after 5 years you can start to really rank how you're drafted.
Yep.
Well, he's lost 1.5 of those years to now injury and COVID. So could Colin White take a step in his development? Only 24 years old. I think that you're starting to like get towards the end of the development curve for Colin White, but he has shown good sample size. Our boy Caleb Smith, who I pulled up his comment right here, he had a tweet during the game and showed Jean-Gabriel Pageau and Colin White's points per game sample size. Very comparable, if not the edge to Colin White over their first 4 seasons in the NHL. And obviously White goes for, Pageau rather, goes for a 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in the draft. And not to say that you're going to look to trade Whitey right away, but man, we know what he means in the locker room. Pilsy, if he can do this on the ice consistently, you're starting to change the conversation about maybe not needing 2 top 6 forwards anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think Colin White is very aware of that, right? He knows what's going on, and he knows he's got a small window here to really prove that he's worth this contract, because like you said, he's missed a lot of time. And even in games where he's played in past seasons, Ross, he's been banged up. Like we've noted that, sure, Whitey may have been playing. He wasn't at 100% health. So now you got to assume he's at 100% health. He's showing what he can do. He's the glue guy. He's the clown in the locker room. The boys all absolutely love him. So he's seeming like a guy that the Senators can't afford to lose. And we were talking about they can't afford to keep him. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out.
Cap space isn't an issue, right? So, I mean, that's the thing. At this point, that's not a problem. So having Colin White on the books for maybe a little bit of an overpayment right now to kind of see if he ends up turning into what he should be or what we think he should be as a first-round pick, then it's not the end of the world. There are other contracts that are large contracts that are maybe bringing negative energy to the team or value to the team. But yeah, I mean, Ross, let's kick it back to you and get back to the game, and we'll talk about that.
100%, because this can be a conversation carried on Locked On Senators, where it's going to be your team every day and then some as we get into this crucial stretch leading up. And it's a big week and a half for Sens hockey for me too, a guy who's been out of the province for a little while. I got Belleville back-to-back Friday, Saturday. I'm going to be in the booth with David Foote doing color commentary for that one. And shoot us a DM on Twitter. Actually, tag us on Twitter. Shoot us a message if you want me to get a certain word in. I'll have some fun with the fans as well and try to do my best alongside David Foote. And then the Sens are in Winnipeg to take on the Jets on March 24th. So leading up to that, and I'm bringing it back to the game here, reeling it in slowly. This was a tough 5-game road trip, no matter how you slice it. Say what you want about Vegas not playing at their best recently, but the 2 games in Florida, you knew those were going to be hard. Then to continue on, get the win at the end. Now they're coming back, and there's no easy stretch in the NHL, but as far as 5-game homestands go, this might be the easiest that the Ottawa Senators ever see.
Rattle it off, baby. Let's hear it.
Seattle Kraken, Chicago Blackhawks, Arizona Coyotes, although they are
Arizona's hot. They're scoring 8 goals like it's not a big deal.
How do you cool something down that's hot in the desert? Pillsy, throw a little snow on it, buddy. When they come to Ottawa, it'll be no problem. Then Columbus comes to town, and then the Philadelphia Flyers, who by then, that's their last game, actually, before the trade deadline. So will Claude Giroux be in Ottawa as a member of the Flyers that day? We'll get to all that and more once we get back to Locked On Senators. But, fellas, the Ottawa Senators get a 4-1 victory tonight. It's their largest victory since February 13th, that matinee in Washington against the Capitals. Feels like so much has happened on the ice and in the world since that day in the nation's capital of America. Now, when we get back to tonight's game, that 4-1 victory over the St. Louis Blues. And again, this was the first game in St. Louis since 2018-19. Their game in St. Louis was after the COVID break ended up happening. So to go back to St. Louis, Brady Tkachuk gets his goal. And I almost tweeted out, I just couldn't figure out a way to word it. And they hadn't contributed on enough goals, not like Batherson and Norris. But, boys, how nice is it seeing Brady Tkachuk back with Josh Norris? Those two, I just believe, are meant to play together. They open up so much ice for each other. It's awesome.
Yeah, and seeing Josh Norris score from his office yet again, like, that's got to feel good if you're the Senators players and you have that easy option on the power play, because it's the Alex Ovechkin effect, right? Everyone knows where Josh Norris is going to be. Everyone knows the power play is every pass before that is simply leading up to that play. Like, it's almost meaningless. It's just like, okay, how can we waste time until we can get that play ready? And yet he still scores almost every time that opportunity is teed up for him.
It's a beautiful thing, Pilsy, and it's just like all those other teams who have that lethal sniper, but usually it's on the other side. Why is that? Like, Josh Norris being, I guess, a left-handed shot, he's like one of the few I can think of who tees it up on that right side of the ice. Like, you think of all the major ones in the league, like Ovechkin and Stamkos and those guys, they're usually on the other side. So it's actually funny seeing it come from the other side of the ice, I find. But I love watching it. That's for sure. It's like, it's going to happen. You're just waiting for it.
Yeah, so should we get to our Sensential standouts? If we're doing a double loop, we better get to it, eh, boys?
Yeah, we should. Sorry, I'm just getting fired up because people are hitting us with better duos than Josh Norris and Brady Tkachuk. We've got Ross and Pilsy. That's cute, Zach. Appreciate that. Dustin says Phaneuf and a pylon. Come on. Dion Phaneuf scored a playoff goal with the Senators, something he never did with the Toronto Maple Leafs. You got to appreciate that Mathot and Carlson, I'll accept that answer.
Yep.
Clark MacArthur and Dion Phaneuf were a great combo as well.
Riz.
You know, they're cousins. That was a weird side
No, I
storyline
didn't know
with
that.
Phaneuf
I
there.
don't remember that.
Somebody married the other's family member. Strange storyline. And one I probably
Did they say
shouldn't
Mathot
remember.
and Carlson already? Yeah. I guess
Yes.
so, yeah.
Somebody said that as well. Side note, how about Marian Hossa and Radek Bonk as a throwback duo for
Yeah.
Ottawa? Yeah.
I mean,
big
even
fan of
Hossa
that.
and Chara, the two Slovaks kicking
Yes.
it around together.
Dominic
They
Hasek
were
and Ray
happy
Emery.
teammates.
That's a good duo.
Looking back, those guys, I bet they had a great time together. No question. Turris and Stone, honorable mention. Those two had a great little chemistry going. And then we're going to add in a third because Atleems Martian is the most perfect addition to the Locked On Senators postcast. All right, boys, let's get into our Sens Central standouts because we got a lot to get to tonight after a 4-1 Ottawa Senators win on the road. Sens have 28 shots. The Blues have 23. The Senators power play goes 2 for 2. St. Louis goes 0 for 1 on their man advantage. Only 4 giveaways for St. Louis. Remember we talked the other night, Pilsy? Vegas had like 30. It was absolutely a ridiculous number. 4 for St. Louis tonight, 1 for Ottawa. Either that or whoever was taking the stats for giveaways and takeaways was having a little nap on the job tonight. One or the other. Pilsy, lead us off with your Sens Central standouts.
I'm going to go with Timmy. I mean, Tim Stutzle, I'm just looking at his game logs now. 3-game point streak and 6 points in those 3 games. So that is absolutely incredible for him to keep things going. And yeah, Logan Brown, whoops. Nice showing there from him. But Tim Stutzle is going to be my Sens Central standout. And we were talking about it today, and this just emphasizes the point that he is so effective at the center ice position. And when the play gets going and the Senators play with pace, he can be a big part of that. And he showed that yet again tonight with 3 points.
3-game point streak for Tim Stutzle right now, Pilsy. He had 1 and 1 tonight. Am I right? I don't know.
No, he had 1 and 2, buddy.
1 and 2. There. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. I'm Mr. Multitasker here. So when I sound like an idiot,
it's a nice night for old Timmy Stutzle.
Yeah, when I sound like an idiot, it's just you're getting a glimpse into my everyday
or
life.
When you're just echoing my Sens Central standout.
No, you got a lot going on,
Ross.
You got a lot going on there. You get a pass. You're running all the little things that pop up.
We'll let it slide.
You're scanning the comments hard. I love it.
Not only that, but I'm on Twitter checking out stats like this one here to further your point, Pilsy.
Thank you.
It's Tim Stutzle's team-leading 13th power play point
for
him. So how about a guy who, the Sens power play was dead when he was still in the lineup. It really seemed to fizzle out when it was Norris and Bathurst in the left. But the puck movement is so much better with Timmy on it. It's just there was no finishers. So now you've added one of your finishers back. He gets one tonight. And Josh Norris will be my first Sens Central standout tonight. And this isn't in particular order. Martian, we're leaving you the captain, some captain shit right there.
Thank you. He was my guy.
For you. But how about just the vibes of this team? And Pilsy and I talked today about how certain veterans can push other guys down the lineups. Now, he's not a veteran, but when Norris comes in, everything just slots so much nicer on the depth chart when Stutzle's your second line center, and then Whitey, and then Gambrell, and so on and so forth, even on the wings. Like, it's such a calming presence when Norris is in the lineup. He's a guy who contributes on the power play like we saw tonight, but also at even strength. Didn't get a whole lot of ice time tonight, which I was a little surprised with. Wasn't great in the face-off circle, but again, you look at the stat sheet at the end of the night, and it's a 3-point night for him as well. And the only goal he didn't contribute on was the empty netter. So every goal Bennington was in net for, Josh Norris had a hand in, and for a guy who's only a couple games back from injury, this is just a get the ball rolling, and we'll keep it on from there. So as I give you a nice little slow fastball, Martian, just grab his line mate and take it away, because I think we know where you're going is going to be where the helmet and glasses are going too. I
think you're right about that. And we're talking about captain shit here, people. This is serious business. Finally, Brady Tkachuk, he's been a little bit quiet lately, but tonight was a different story. I think it all goes back to it being his hometown game. He's back in St. Louis. He got dinner at mom and dad's tonight. Little rejuvenation for the young captain here. And he came in and he was that emotional leader that the Ottawa Senators need and expect every single night. And when he's going, the whole team's going. He basically, and this is an overused saying that every goddamn announcer in the NHL who announces the NHL talks about when they talk about either Tkachuk brother, and that's dragging the team into battle. And that's exactly what he did tonight with his emotional energy that he comes in with every single night. And I mean, how can you not get fired up about Brady Tkachuk scoring that goal in the hometown and screaming the way he did? Huge emotional release, right? Like, he's pumped up to play that game. And hopefully he doesn't like playing in St. Louis too much, but we got him for the next 7 years at least there. Unlike his brother who wants to slide his way out of Canada as quickly as possible. We got the younger brother. So captain shit right there, boys. Brady Tkachuk, easy standout for me. And thanks for leaving him there for me, because that was my guy right from the start. Just for people who we don't know, we don't plan these ahead of time either.
No.
We just rattle these off. So we get our guys stolen all the time. So thanks for leaving me, Brady.
We got you, Martian.
Pilsy, I'm throwing you a Brady Tkachuk segment like this, as a great Guy Boucher would do. And if anyone was paying attention today to either Locked On Senators or Send Central on Twitter, you knew that Brady Tkachuk was taking some heat in the comments at Send Central. Everyone was taking heat. It was full chaos mode in the at Send Central mentions this morning when we asked for your spiciest takes. And a lot of people said Brady Tkachuk was overrated. Well, Pilsy, do you know what I have to say to that?
Let's hear it.
I wonder what people think of the contract now.
Where's the Corsi stat for what he just brought tonight, boys?
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
That's the
Zaitsev. It would have been 4-0 if not for Zaitsev, but that's a different segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So Brady Tkachuk, you gotta love seeing that. Like you mentioned, Martian, that's just captain shit right there. Like, and I love that they did a little montage of highlights of Brady, and he ripped one off the post to start the game. He draws that penalty with that great spinorama move with that loose puck out in front. He's playing physical. He's getting in Binnington's kitchen. Like, he does so much for this team. I think the people that say he's overrated are people that simply think points have to equal dollars. That's not how hockey works. Not every single contract is a quick trade-off for points, cost per points, right? There's so much more that goes into the game of hockey. And if you're not following along closely, then yeah, you probably look at the points and maybe say, hey, other guys that are making over 8 million get more points. Well, do they do what Brady does? Do they are they projected to get over 300 hits or 300 shots? And what was that stat that he would have got?
Hits, I think it was. But
exactly.
But
like, who else is doing
too.
Nobody in NHL history, actually, Pilsy.
Exactly.
There's the other thing too, guys.
Well, actually.
Like, people think that Brady Tkachuk is done growing all of a sudden now too, just because he has a captaincy and he's been in the league for whatever it is, 4 years now. He's only 22 years old. So you think he's done. He's not even close to the ceiling that I think he's going to be like if his body, holds it together, which I think, with the proper training that he's probably had his entire life and nutrition and all that jazz, he's probably ready to go here. And he's going to keep growing, I think, a little bit. And I think he's only going to get stronger. And as he, gets the hang of the league even more, he's going to score more points too. So
great point, Martian. Great point.
Yeah. 22.
Wins are even better when it's the guys who you want to be a part of the rebuild that do the most contributing. 3 points for Josh Norris tonight. 3 points for Tim Stutzle tonight. Anton Forsberg looks incredible with 22 saves on 23 shots. And Brady Tkachuk gets his first career goal in his hometown. We always like looking at ice time on the back end. What was Thomas Chabot with a game-high 26:06. And Eric Brandstrom only playing 14:54. That was a minute and a half more than Josh Brown, who was at the back end here with 13:31. But speaking of depth players, and we're going to do one quick around the horn here, final Send Central standout, and then we're going to wrap up a 4-1 win because, Pilsy, we got to leave some content for tomorrow. It's going to be so much fun breaking down a win for the first time since God knows when. But as we go a second way around, you guys want to do Snake? Are we going back to Martian or are we going to Pilsy here? You guys fight it out.
You know what? Martian's our guest. You go for it.
Wait, as we tease that, Brett James pointing out this, and I don't know if you boys saw Drake Batherson's Instagram post today with the clock and the eyes. The only reason why I'm looking into this forensically, I'm taking a quantum leap towards it, is They're going back home after a 5-game road trip. Drake
Oh,
Batherson has been skating. We saw friggin' photo evidence of that with Shane Pinto.
yeah, those
Boys.
high ankle sprains, you never know when you're ready with those things. So if he's feeling good, I think that's pretty much what he's saying, right? That's got to be what he's saying.
I don't think he plays Thursday. That would be a lot more to ask, but I think we might see him with team practice. I would assume Friday is probably their next team practice.
Yeah, he's counting down the days for sure.
I can't wait to get him
guy
back in the
misses
lineup. Martian, hit us with your standout.
Okay, yeah, well, I guess I'm gonna go with Zach Sanford. I think is my second standout, and the other reason for that is this almost similar to Brady. You know, he's returning back to the team for the first time that he won a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues. So for him to be able to come back and have a good game, I thought he had a lot of jump tonight, more than usual, because sometimes he's a bit of a sleepy player. He wasn't getting underneath Binnington's skin as much as we maybe wanted there, Pilsy? But he was still bringing some energy. Had a few good chances, a couple good shots on goal. He was engaged. So I liked Zach Sanford's game, and I think this might be one of the last chances I get to give him a shout out as a standout because he's probably gone at the deadline.
Did I miss it, or have we not said Anton Forsberg yet?
Oh, you're asking if we've said someone?
That's why I asked if we missed it. I might have missed it.
I passed over him.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll let you soak that one in, Ross. I'm taking Anton Forsberg then, because that glove save alone, like,
goalie from the show waits 4 picks to pick the goalie.
I know. Well, he didn't have 40+ saves, so mediocre.
Save of the year, though.
Yeah, save of the year for sure. I mean, Pierre Dorian's got to have that contract ready now. Like, I am fully, unless they get a second round pick or something better, I'm fully on team extend Forsberg. Like, what more does this guy need to do to prove that he can be the guy here? And maybe not a long-term solution, but for the time being, I don't see a better option at the NHL level for this goaltender, the crease for the Ottawa Senators. So I want to keep Forsberg around. I think people mentioned it in the chat. Like, anytime you know he's starting, you feel good. Even if you're up against the St. Louis Blues on the road, if you got Forsberg in net, you feel like you got a chance to win. And I feel like the boys feel like that too, right? Like they play good in front of them.
They play different in front of them.
Yep. So I'm going Forsberg.
All right. Leaving it to me. So there's 2 guys I want to give some credit to right now. And to recap as well, just to go back into the memory vault, we'll see. Pillsy's probably just eyeing me. Can he name off who everybody's got as their standouts right now? Martian has Brady Tkachuk and Zach Sanford. And Pillsy's got Tim Stutzle. Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tim Stutzle and Anton Forsberg. I had Josh Norris. Sorry, my side's frozen right now. I hope you guys can see me. All right.
I think we're good.
All good. And I had Josh Norris, and I'm between 2 guys. So here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to give a shout out, and then I'm going to give my player. And I'm going to give a shout out to Parker Kelly because someone on the 4th line needs to be considered a standout between him, Gambrell, and Austin Watson tonight.
100%.
Those 3 boys.
Pilsy left Gambrell, eh? That's your guy, Pilsy.
That's your guy, Martian.
I started it, but he's been on the Gambrell train.
I hopped on that train with you, yeah.
Fellas, 14 hits for the 4th line tonight, and they averaged about 12 minutes. Gambrell a little more because he had some PK time, but that is a great night for the 4th line. Watson's hit in the 3rd period. Up on the blue line was unreal. And Parker Kelly was finishing every hit, and I'm shocked he only got 2 minutes for dropping the mitts and dropping whatever that Russian defenseman was on the Blues after he had a big hit. Who did he hit there?
It was on Gambrell. Yeah.
On Gambrell. Yeah, it was. It was. So credit to Parker Kelly, but fellas, it's got to be Colin White as my central standout. Moving the puck on the power play, moving the puck. Both of his goal assists, rather, were on the power play here tonight. So that's a welcome addition in itself. And don't look at his face-off numbers. But if we ignore that, I think that just versus what the power play's been over the last little while, for him to come in and contribute on that, he deserves here the 6th shutout tonight. He was 0 for 7 in the dot tonight. But 2 assists on the power play, multi-point night. So you got to love that here as we're wrapping up a 4-1 win, fellas. Pilsy, final thoughts on this win?
Man, it feels good to remember what a W looks like, eh,
I know,
boys?
right?
Like, those were some sad, sad wins. So people were questioning the
That
rebuild.
games. We didn't know how to spell wins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just great to get back in the win column here, and especially coming back home. And like we mentioned, it's a easier home stand here, and that's got to feel good. Full capacity now at the CTC. So coming back at an all-time high, you got to love that. So Sens fans, get out there and support the boys.
Martian, final thoughts on this one as the Senators are set to come home following a big win.
It's a great way to get the fans fired up for a little homestand here against some weaker teams. So I'm hoping that, despite the where they are in the standings, that people are still going to get out and maybe attend a game or two here, especially if there's people. I mean, I'm not encouraging it by any means, but there's people out there who haven't been able to because of their status with vaccinations, and you can finally go to a game now. Good for you. I hope you get out there and are able to enjoy it too, because it's been a longer period for them than most people. But I'm really hoping that, like the fans are in attendance, and I'd like to see some good cheering at the games. I was watching some clips of some soccer chants. My buddy was sending them to me. He was saying, we got to get some more of this, and St. Louis had a bit of it tonight, I thought, in the building. The culture,
with the country road song,
the
they were loving that
the country
one.
roads.
Yeah.
Like, I love
West
that
Virginia,
shit,
though, that's not even close to Missouri.
I know, but
Yeah.
whatever. Just like the whole atmosphere was vibing, and that's what it's all about, and that's what makes it fun as a fan in the building. So I'd love to see some people maybe try to find some like songs that someone sends DJ can toss on that we can all sing to and put some of our own words to it or something.
Yeah, fair enough. And well, hey, Pillsy, end on that. What would be your thing? Somebody in the hot takes today in the Sens spicy takes said the Sens need to move on from Danger Flutes. The song dun 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 dun. Somebody said they need to move on. I was like, nah,
that's beautiful.
blocked
That's
and
terrible.
reported. Yeah, blocked and
I don't
reported.
like that.
Oh
Yeah.
no, we'll tee it up tomorrow. But Sens first meeting against the Seattle Kraken in franchise history on
Yep.
Thursday. Nope, little tease. Pillsy, what would be your answer to Martian there when it comes to your final thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up from there.
Yeah, I agree. We need to get some sort of chant going, some sort of like Ross. Remember when we went to World Cup games and it was a Sweden game, and
Yep.
one half of the arena yells something in Swedish, I forget what it is, and then the other half responds with something. And
now we're talking, Pillsy. Ottawa does that with West Side, East Side,
Yes.
or North Side, South Side at the Red Blacks game. They go, North Side sucks. And then South Side yells back. They go,
Yeah.
North Side or South Side sucks.
yeah,
Man,
I want
Martian,
something like
messed
that.
that up,
Yeah,
one of the first times Pillsy and I ever met was at the Sweden North America game.
Yeah.
In the World Cup there. That Nathan McKinnon over like that crazy
Yeah,
overtime
yeah,
McKinnon
yeah.
ends like that. Yeah, I was like 2 weeks into our school and we're starting sports media, and everyone was like, wait, what a like Pillsy, that was the most amazing time to be in Toronto for sports. Like you had that, then the Jays went on the playoff run in it was 2016 for them, right? So it was after the year after the Bautista hit, but Carnacion had an unreal hit. I think you might have been at my place for that. We could hear it from down the street.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a story for another day, but
Epic.
it is
Baseball.
just past 11:11. So make a wish at Praise Alfie. Appreciate everyone for being in the chat tonight. We'll have more of this on Locked On Senators tomorrow, fellas. Hell of a postcast, ton of fun at Leams Martian, at Brandon Pillar 1. Go give them a follow. I'm at Ross Levitan. The show is at Sens Central. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. Let's get some Go Sens Go in the chat because we finally have a win to talk about. Only their second win in their last 9 games, I believe. It's their first win in 6, and that's enough to make me go. So after a deep breath, we'll regroup and get back to tomorrow. Cheers, everyone, for joining us in the Postcast. We can't tell you how much we appreciate, and this has been the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast following a 4-1 victory on the road in St. Louis, where the captain gets his first career goal in his hometown. Stay tuned for Locked On Senators because we know you've got your team